Jonathan Bocher here from PlayGuitar.com, and today I want to look at one percussive rhythmic technique that you can use in your strumming. We talk about some percussive techniques in my course Dynamic Rhythm Guitar, which you can learn more about at PlayGuitar.com/dynamics. What we're going to look at today is a slightly simpler version of what I was just playing there. But think of your bar. You got 8/8 notes in your bar, okay? So we're just going to go boom, boom, like chug, chug, right? We've looked at the chug strums in a previous short lesson. But basically all we're doing is we're hitting the lowest one string, two strings, or three strings, kind of whatever floats your boat. We're just going one and, okay, that's 2/8 notes, one and then we're gonna on the second beat we're gonna hit our guitars. Okay, this is where you get to get a little bit creative and find out what works for you. Now, I've watched different people talking about how to hit your guitar, and one thing that has stood out to me is that the way that some people do it, when I try that, it hurts, okay? And, you know, I end up hurting myself. And so it's possible that the way that I explain it here is going to hurt your hand. And don't let that intimidate you or stop you from pursuing this style of playing if it's something that appeals to you. But start working it, okay? Try different ways. You know, how can I, hold my hand a little bit differently? A lot of it comes down to very subtle little variations that that are really going to be unique to you alone. Okay, body shape, structure, your hand size, positioning, all that kind of stuff. The guitar itself is going to affect all those different things. So really, this is why having these percussive elements in your playing automatically gives your playing a much more unique and personal to you style. Okay, because nobody else is going to hit the guitar in exactly the same way as you do. Plus, your guitar is going to sound a little bit different. I mean, we're talking subtle variations here, right? But it does play into it. You think of some guys that are quite well known for using a percussive style of playing. I think of like Jack Johnson, for instance, or Tommy Emmanuel does crazy things with percussion. If you look at his guitar, most of it's worn away because he's constantly beating on the thing. And in fact, he uses his guitar as a drum because, hey, it's a tuned drum. So why not add some of that into your playing? So what we're going to do here on that second beat that I mentioned is quite simply, now I'm holding my pick between my index finger and my thumb. Most people hold their pick that way. That gives me 3 fingers here, right? So I'm going to use those fingers and I'm just going to whack the body of the guitar somewhere, okay? Now play with it, because if you play around hitting the guitar in different places, you'll notice that there are a lot of different tones that can be had depending on where you where you tap the guitar. There's a very tight, high-pitched tone up here versus right behind the bridge. That's probably your biggest, deepest whoomp kind of sound, right? Because you're hitting it in the center of this big area, and it's just like hitting a drum. If you've ever played with a drum, you hit it in the middle, it's the deepest sound. You hit it towards the side, and that gets your higher sounds, right? So experiment with that. There's you can mix it up. You could hit it one time, you could hit it back here. The next time in the same bar, you could hit it up here or up there. The choice is yours. I can't go through every single variation for you. You just got to start playing with it and practicing it. But what we're going to do is just hit it in this region, whatever works for you. Now, I'm hitting it with my fingertips, okay? Because that kind of works for me. It doesn't hurt me too bad. Other people will tap with their fingernails onto the guitar. Keep in mind that if you do this a lot, you may damage you most likely will begin damaging the surface of your guitar. Now, that's up to you, okay? Don't come running back to me and saying, hey, you destroyed my guitar. No, no, no. It's up to you. But you look at guitars like, Willie Nelson, like his guitar's basically got a hole in it. And he loves the thing to death. And, Tommy Emmanuel, I mentioned already, it's just, it adds character. It changes the tone and it makes it even more unique. So it's really up to you. If you've got like a $40,000 guitar, chances are you're probably not wanting to play in that kind of fashion with that guitar. You might want to get something else. But most of us don't carry $40,000 guitars. And if you do, give me a call. So what we're going to do is very simple. That's a bar, okay? 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Boom. There you go, okay? And then you can throw it into a chord progression. We'll just go G major, E minor. This is an E minor 7 that I'll probably use here. And then C add 9, or C if you want. And then we'll go back to our G. So that's basically what it sounds like, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on a 90 beat per minute drum track, and we're just going to have a go with this. And if you listen to the drum track, you'll hear that the hi-hats are going on the 8th notes, okay? So that's your like bum, bum, except they're going, and they're just carrying it through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So we're just going to tie in with that bump, bump, 1 and. And then you're going to tie in with the, I think it's the kick drum is on the 1 and the snare beat is on the 2. So you're actually tying in that with the snare in the drum track on the 2. And, the rest of the time we're going to be tying into that hi-hat, right? So gives you a kind of a bit of a way of interpreting that drum track. So let's turn it on and see what we can come up with. Now, you can easily take this in a lot of different directions. I'm just going to mention a couple things you can play around with, right? You can work on, same as we've looked at before, going from just a chug and then gradually developing that into a fuller strum to help kind of build the song. Another variation that I should mention here is when I was tapping here with my, just kind of the fleshy part of my hands. Sometimes, if you listen close, you'll also hear a sharper click, like that. Well, what's that? What I'm doing is I'm actually hitting the pick guard with my pick at the same time, right? So you get a deeper thump and you get a sharper click out of the pick. This is just an example of how you can make this sound as unique as you want to, depending on how it is that you want to hit that guitar. So, sometimes I'll strum on the muted strings at exactly the same time as I'm whacking that guitar. That changes the tone and the sound yet again. Sometimes you do them all together. Sometimes you hit over here, or you can hit up here, or, right? The sky's the limit. You can have a lot of fun with it. We talk about a few more ways that you can get into percussive strumming techniques in the dynamic rhythm guitar course. And of course, a ton more ways that you can begin adding dynamics and, most importantly, developing your own personal style of playing rhythm on the guitar. Hey, rhythm is just as important as your solo, if not more important. So put the effort and the time into developing really strong rhythm skills, and your guitar playing is just it's gonna stand out from all the rest instantly, even if you don't even know how to solo. So head on over to PlayGuitar.com/dynamics, and you can check it out. And we'll see you over there. Have a great day.